We've travelled the continent over the past 7 months, navigating our way through a global pandemic off the pitch and past some of Europe's elite on it. Our journey has once again led us to Madrid. We are ready to write the next chapter, but tonight will not be the final word. Deep breath. Here we go. Welcome to Matchday Live, the UEFA Champions League semi-final first leg. Chelsea are in the Spanish capital to take on Zinedine Zidane's Real Madrid. I mean, I'm in the company of Jason Cundy, Pat Nevin and Zach Jellab. Boys, I'm sure like every Chelsea fan everywhere in the world today has been a day where you're counting down the seconds. Jace, usually around about this time, you're a bag of nerves, mate. You have been the picture of cool the last couple of hours since we started chatting. How are you feeling, mate?
Don't let this picture fool you. Now the teams are out, and now we've done this show. It's now real. We're starting to feel it's getting closer, and the closer it gets, of course, the nerves start to kick in. So, and answer the question, not good, mate. It's just how it should be, and that's what we want. That's how, when you get to the latter stages of this competition, you shouldn't feel normal. You shouldn't feel relaxed. You should feel how I feel, or it's how I feel getting to this stage of the tournament. So I'm optimistic. I'm actually quite confident, but nervous.
Pat, this is Real Madrid. This is, the Champions League semi-final. Like Jason's just said there, you shouldn't feel normal ahead of games like this. These are the ones that do give you feels that other football matches don't give you, because it's such a big deal. There's so much at stake. It's the first time we've played Real Madrid in the Champions League, but there's so much history and culture to Real Madrid as a football club. They're not the same as they have been, but they still pose such a threat, don't they? How are you feeling about this evening?
Usual, excited. And that's it for me. Absolutely excited. But got more excited as this competition's gone on, because my belief is actually growing game by game by game. Now, people like yourself, Joe and Zach, and you've been saying positive things all along, and I've been lagging behind you, and I'm getting more positive as it's going along. So I'm really, really excited about it. We've got a team that looks in really good nick just now. I still think we're considered underdogs, and that's rightly so, because that team we were playing against is a team that's been there, done that, seen it. And so many times in the past you've thought, oh, they're a bit old now, they're a bit past it. And then they walk away with that big trophy at the end of it. So we're not writing them off. But tonight, excitement. Let's do what we do well. If we do what we do well, they'll struggle to get by us.
That's exactly it, isn't it, Zach? I mean, like Pat said, we've been positive throughout, and I think that there is always that. As a fan, you dream big, of course you do. I think after the 0-0 in Seville in the first against Sevilla in the first Champions League game, I was thinking, well, 10 more games and we could be in Istanbul. But you've got to get that. But now we're here. We've put ourselves in a great situation, a great position. We're up against giants of the European game. Thomas Tuchel has been at this stage as recently as last season. Yeah. We've got the tools, we've got the players, we've got the ability. I suppose tonight is about taking the opportunity.
Yeah, it's in our own hands, just like it is for Real Madrid as well. But look, we have to just go out there and get the job done. I think personally, I actually think it's better being in our position, the away team first, knowing that if you go put a goal or two ahead, that you're taking that home when you go to Stamford Bridge in the next leg. But it's exciting. The only shame is that there's no Chelsea fans or supporters there watching in the stands. It's such a shame. But I've got a good feeling, lads.
Yeah, it's like you said, slightly disappointing that the game is obviously being played at Real Madrid's training ground tonight, which is the Estadio Alfredo Di Stefano, because they're having refurbishments and sort of a new roof, I think it is, put on the Bernabeu. But like you said, it would be a wonderful position to be in if we were in front of a packed out Bernabeu. Chelsea fans that are flying over to Madrid, having a big old day. Someone that we are very fortunate to have on the ground for us tonight is the ever-present and the brilliant Lee Parker. Lee, how are you, mate? You good?
I'm very well. It's funny you say on the ground, because we couldn't be much higher. I don't know if you can see, Pretty impressive ground, but we're right up in the top corner, so I apologise now for the wind.
Not at all, mate. It's still stunning. This is what I mean. It's a Real Madrid training ground. It's better than 90% of grounds that I'm sure we've all seen in the past. But Lee, put me out of my misery, mate. Talk to me about the team yesterday.
Yes, no changes from Thomas Tuchel following the game with West Ham at the weekend. So it's Mendy a goal. It's a back three of Christensen, Silva and Rudiger. Azpilicueta right wing back alongside Kanté, Jorginho, and then Ben Chilwell out on the left. Mount, Pulisic and Werner up top. Everybody else on the bench.
I'm assuming there's one, if not two, familiar faces in the Real Madrid squad tonight. Either of those boys starting?
We have a certain Thibaut Courtois in goal for Real Madrid. Eden Hazard, unsurprisingly, on the bench. He made a 15-minute cameo, didn't he, at the weekend in their draw? So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him. Mixed emotions, really. Strange, isn't it?
It is. We were saying off there, and I'm sure everyone's had the same chat in their WhatsApp groups or on Twitter today, just saying that I really want to see Eden Hazard back to his best. But if he could avoid that for the next 2 games or the next 3 games, week and a half, that'd be delightful. Jay, does that team surprise you in any way that he's kept the same from the weekend?
No, probably not. I tell you what I really do like. I like the fact that he's got Christensen at centre half. That tells you about how he wants to play. So he wants a Christensen, a ball playing centre half. You've got Silva in there as well. Aspie is one of the most experienced defenders in the Premier League right now. Okay, so he's coming here in a massive game. Aspie has to play. So clearly he feels that those 2 positions, if you think about where Aspie thought, the way he think he could play alongside Silva, and maybe Christensen miss out, I think that tells me a little bit about how he wants to play. He wants to keep the ball. He wants ball possession, and that's how Thomas Tuchel wants to play. The way that they're looking like they might line up, it might be a 3-5-2 that goes to a 3-3-4, depending where the ball is, or a 3-3, depending where the ball is. They've got options out wide. I just think we need to worry about ourselves, to be honest with you. But in terms of what we've got, with the selection that he had, with clearly Kovacic missing, Kanté was always going to play in front of with Jorginho. And I like that. Even if Kovacic was fit, I wanted to see Jorginho and Kanté in this team.
I couldn't agree more. And Lee, we've had to mute you a little bit, mate, because I think it's a bit windy and blustery out there. But I want to talk to you about Mason Mount, because like Jay said, we talk about players that are making a big opportunity for themselves. And tonight the stage is set. It's a Champions League semi-final, and Mason Mount's 100th appearance for Chelsea tonight.
Absolutely. I mean, just you said about the wind, I think we're also coming back to music. Someone's borrowed my Now 43 CD, I think, playing in the background, if you can hear that. Mason Mount, 100th appearance for Chelsea. Really interesting stat. He obviously came back to the club from his loan spell at Derby, didn't he, in 2019, the same summer that we bid a fond farewell to Eden Hazard. Since then, as you alluded to there, this is Mason's 100th appearance in that time. Eden Hazard has played just 37 times for Real Madrid, so how times change.
It really has. And it is very sad, that Eden Hazard hasn't been able to stay fit. He's been desperately unlucky with injuries. He's obviously on the bench tonight. But when you look at the 2 benches, we're just seeing them here in terms of the options that Chelsea have got and the limited options that Real Madrid have got. Again, that gives you another little confidence boost, doesn't it? If the game is going, however the game's going, that Thomas Tuchel's got more options than his opposite number in terms of bringing players on.
Oddly enough, I was writing about this today in my piece on the Chelsea website. The fact that if we play this game as high a tempo as we possibly can, we can make all sorts of changes and we won't be weakened. They can't. No. I mean, there'll still be good players. They've got Isco on the bench. Some good players there. But the amount of players that we can change over the 2 games is much more than they've got just now. So that's a positive. The other positive for me is they've, once again, just like Pep, they've changed for us. They have changed for us, which is weird. They prefer a 4-3-3. That's when they're at the best. Every now and again, they go to this 3-4, whatever it's going to be. And I suspect it might be a kind of 3-4-2-1-ish with Modric and Vinicius off the striker a little bit. But who knows? I mean, lots of different ideas and possibilities of what it could be. But we've not changed. They have. And that's a real psychological boost for that. This all comes down to looking at our team. Jason said it there. One word: experience. That's what it is. Have a look at that lineup of ours. Thiago Silva, Rudiger, Jorginho, Azpilicueta, Kanté. I mean, that is world class, as in World Cup sometimes, experience of an incredible level. When you get to the Champions League semi-finals, you need that. Eventually, they'll keep you in the game. we might look to the young guns a wee bit nearer the end to go and win us the game. But at the moment, that's precisely the team I'd have picked.
Zach, where's the key matchup today? Because, we talk about Casemiro, Kroos and Modric about being such an important three in there. You've got N'Golo Kanté, who arguably is in that same conversation with those three we just mentioned about best central midfielders in the world that can have such an impact on the game. Marcelo's playing left wing back, we believe, with Timo Werner and Christian Pulisic and Mason Mount's pace. That's maybe an area. Where do you think Chelsea can exploit this evening?
It's all over the pitch, to be quite honest. However, I think that left flank may be where we try and get most of our attacks down. As much as I love Aspie, his attacking sense isn't as good as his defending capabilities. Whereas Ben Chilwell, we saw against West Ham, got the assist for Timo Werner. And Carvajal's only recently come back from injury. If he's having to deal with Chilwell and Pulisic both coming and attacking him, and he'll have to have some help from his midfield and maybe from the attackers as well. That's where I think we'll have a bit of fun and kind of try and play a little bit like we did against West Ham and dominating that ball and going through the wings. And that's not to say as well, Aspie can't do it as well, because he did also put in some fantastic balls. And we know, do you remember the season when we had Morata up top and him and Morata had that great duo link up? But yeah, I think Chilwell down that left side, a bit of help from Pulisic. And to be honest, wherever Mason Mount is on the pitch, he normally tends to do all right.
Absolutely agree. Well, let's have a look. Obviously, the team news is out now, so let's have a look at how we predict the game is going to go. We've submitted these predictions a little bit earlier on. You can have your say for a chance to win a £100 Megastore voucher and a signed shirt as well. Congrats to Sunday C from Nigeria, who topped the leaderboard for the West Ham game by scoring 85 points, which, if you've played Play Predictor before, that's a very, very good score. Here's what we've gone for tonight then. 1-0's all round, except Pat, that's gone 1-0. Lee, we've not got your prediction tonight, mate. I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. Have you got a prediction for us?
I'll take 1-1,
Yeah.
I'll take 1-1.
I think. Well, Pat, you made a great point about 1-1 earlier in the pre-show in terms of how much of a good result that would be.
Yeah, I think it would be an excellent result because we want the away goal. Jason's talked about that as well. We all know that the away goal is absolutely vital in these circumstances. And if you do get a 1-1 away from home in generally any European game, you're not disappointed by it. If you get it away from home at Real Madrid, you got to be happy with it. So any sort of draw, I'd put up with, because if you get anybody back here, Stamford Bridge, and say we beat you to get to the Champions League final over 90 minutes at our home ground, I'll have that. I'll take that.
Absolutely right. Jay, a little bit for you as well. Thomas Tuchel has managed in the Bernabeu away to Real Madrid twice before and scored twice on both occasions. So it's got to give you a little bit of a positive buzz as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, the away goal is... I think this is what makes the Champions League and any competition that's got the away goal so intriguing, because it's up to us now to impose ourselves to try and get it. And if you look at Real Madrid's setup, lineup, team selection, I think it tells you a little bit about they will take a 0-0 now. I wouldn't be adverse to a 0-0, but you know what? I'd rather take a 1-1. Of course I would. I think the away goal, if we get an away goal tonight, that puts us in the box seat. It really does. If it's 0-0 and we go back to Stamford Bridge, look, there's so much still to play for, but it gives them a little bit more space in terms of how they can set themselves up, knowing there is no comeback. So the away goal tonight, if we can get an away goal, guys, honestly, that will be invaluable.
I really would, mate. So much more to talk about tonight as well. That big game feel is definitely sitting in the pit of my stomach. We'll continue to build up to this Champions League semi-final first leg after we hear from the man that's going to be sat in the dugout leading it all. Thomas Tuchel speaking to the press yesterday.
Hi, Thomas. I was just going to ask you a bit more about that you're so experienced in the Champions League yourself personally. What do you see about this group of players and the squad that you have? Obviously, you've got some young players amongst them as well. Yeah. That you believe that they've got that big game mentality for even the biggest game against Real Madrid.
Yeah, it's the experiences that we have together. We don't have to talk them into being confident, and we don't have to convince them as a coach. We try to, but it's so much easier if you have the experience actually together. And this is what I feel every match. I feel that we are able to play on a very high level. We are, if it's not possible to play our nicest match, we are always able to not let the opponents play their best match, which is also a definition of performance. To not let the others perform. So we have a strong bond. I feel a strong bond within the squad. I feel us very, very involved physically in the games, ready to work together, to suffer together, and when it's needed to respond to the questions. If it's necessary to fight. If it's necessary to run. If it's the moment to show your skills and escape pressure with passing or be dominant. We have in every match moments where we can do this. Yeah, and the level is so high, but it's if you arrive in semi-final in Champions League. But like I said, we should not expect crazy things from us, but the same again on the highest level. And the good thing is we have the experience together. We had tough matches, tight matches, very important matches in Premier League and FA Cup. So we feel that it's a good moment to play this match, and we want to play hungry. We want to play adventurous. And maybe a bit of a lack of experience in semi-final to compensate with hunger and enthusiasm.
Diego Plaza. Diego?
Buenos días, señor Tuchel. Diego Plaza, del Chiringuito.
Good afternoon. After Ceferin's threats to Real Madrid, people in Spain are talking about how that could influence the refereeing in the game tomorrow. How do you see the whole controversy regarding this game?
I trust 100% in the refereeing and in UEFA and in the competition, and I trust 100% that every referee UEFA sends and UEFA on this level, we need the best refereeing because it's very, very difficult, and I trust 100% in that the referee will try to whistle the best match possible. I cannot imagine that there is any advantage or disadvantage because of a sports political discussion, and I don't want to even think about it because it does not exist in my mind.
Damesh, Sky Sports News.
Hi there, Thomas. Zinedine Zidane has twice said this week that it would be absurd if Real Madrid had been thrown out of the Champions League. Now, if Chelsea, City and Madrid had been expelled, I just want to know what your take would have been. Could you have had any complaints?
There's a lot of if in your questions. Yeah, I mean, we deserve to be in the semi-final, like Real Madrid deserve to be in the semi-final, and we don't deserve because of political decisions or because of influence or because of size or nice shirts or because of our logo. We deserve because we came a long way, and obviously I was part since the knockout. I had the luck to be part since the knockout phase. And all teams have come a long way, and they fought their way through on sportive results, and they fought their way through in the toughest competition in Europe. So of course we deserve to play a semi-final. And if they exist, if problems exist on a sports political level, and it has to be solved on this level, and not not during a competition which is not affected, because right now we deserve. Through the competition to be there, and that's why we are full of confidence and looking forward to play these matches on the highest level. This is what we all dream about when we are kids.
James Savundra.
Thomas, the results have been so impressive since you've been in charge so far, but do you think your side will need to go to a new level to beat Real Madrid over these two legs?
Maybe the next level is to keep the level. Sometimes it's like this: don't drop the level. And I strongly believe in our squad that we can do this, and I strongly believe then that sometimes in circumstances and playing against a big experienced team and a huge club in European competition like Real Madrid, maybe the next step is to keep the level and not to over-expect from us to doing the next step, because I truly believe that we showed in Tottenham, in Liverpool, in the knockouts against Porto and Atletico, that we are capable of consistently producing high-level football, and in all questions that are asked on the pitch, in offensive terms, in defensive terms, and in transition, offensive, defensive. And the challenge is for me more to produce it again and to keep the level up. And this is more the question than adding another step to that. It's not necessary.
Jacob Steinberg.
Hi Thomas. On a personal level, you started coaching at a long time ago at a fairly low level in Germany. Did you at any point when you were doing that ever think that you might be in a Champions League semi-final against Real Madrid? And does that kind of for you sum up the beauty of sport?
No, I'm the example. Well, I'm a pretty lucky guy, pretty lucky man, and I know this, and I'm very thankful and very grateful with all the luck that I had and with all the people at my side who pushed me, who believed in me, and who gave me all the experience that I had and that made me the coach that I am today. When I started in academy football, it was every day was a gift, and every day I enjoyed every day with my under 14 in Stuttgart, and later it was an under 15, and then it became an under 19, and then was the step to only be coach of an under 19, full in charge, and don't need to work in any other job. This was already a big gift, and I could never imagine that a manager in Bundesliga has the guts and the courage to let me coach a first division team, because that was very, very unusual in this at this moment, without having myself played a game on the very highest level. So yeah, I'm grateful, but on the other hand, it felt always very natural. It felt always natural, and it felt always like a big competition. It felt always to me right to be in that place, not because I earned it, not because I deserve it, but it came naturally to me, and I'm very grateful for all the people who helped me. For, of course, first of all, for my family, and then for everybody around me in coaching in the academies and on my way through professional football. Honestly, I have every week a lot of doubts about what we do, how we play, can we keep the momentum going. So I never had these thoughts where this should end and where it could end up, and is like I say many times, I'm very grateful for having the possibility to experience this on this high level, and to arrive tomorrow such a great club and such a great team in semi-final of Champions League again. It's the second time, and I'm far from taking it granted. I'm far from having the opinion that this belongs to me and this is whatever, and I deserve this and nobody else. No, this is. I'm a lucky man, like I said. I'm very happy to be there, and it's an obligation at the same time to give my very best and to build to be fully on tomorrow.
John Southall.
Hi Thomas. I just wondered what you made of the new Champions League format, and also on the game. How big a challenge is this for you personally to try and tactically plot a route to the final against Zinedine Zidane?
I didn't get the second question. The first one was about the format.
The new format for the Champions League. What you made of that?
I'm not sure. Maybe I start with this. I'm not sure if I like it, because I can only see more games out of it, and more games in a schedule that we have. It's very hard for me to be excited at all, and all these discussions about Super League made forget that we have now a new format of Champions League very soon, Did they ask any about any coach about this? I don't think so. They did not ask me. Did they ask any player about it? I don't think so. So we have so many new formats, and we have a Nations League, and we have a new, I think, World Championship for clubs coming soon. We have so many new stuff and so much more games, and we have more teams in the European Championship in summer. It's just more games. This is not more quality. It's just more games. Who should play these games? And at the same time, we have three substitutes here in Premier League and the toughest competitions. No, I'm not happy about this format, not at all. But you know, I was not involved in it. Second one.
Plotting the strategy to beat Zidane.
The strategy.
Yeah.
Be ourselves. It's the strategy. Once you arrive, the higher you climb on the level. Rely on yourself, rely on your strengths, and do the things that make you comfortable, and which are proven that they work. And we have these things as a team, and this is what we try to do on the best level. There's no other approach for a match like this. Hopefully we don't overthink it. Hopefully we don't want to overdo it. As the challenge is to be ourselves and to be the best version of ourselves for 94 minutes tomorrow in Madrid.
Radio Marca. Unmute yourself.
Ahora, me gustaría preguntarte por Eden Hazard.
I wanted to ask you about Eden Hazard. Have you spoken with some of the members of your squad about Hazard? And would you prefer to play Real Madrid without Hazard?
Well, Eden is a top quality player. I mean, he was the key player here for many years in this club and in this league, which is like I said, one of the hardest in the world, and a tough one if you decide matches so consistently like Eden did for this club here. So I have the biggest respect for him. Of course, we talk a lot because he's a big player for this club, and of course we have many people here in the staff know him very well. And it's not only that we talk about him because we play him, but we talk about the experience and how this club grew, and about the experience and the big games they had, and the clashes they had in the league and in Europe. And like I said, he was a key player in for this club. Now he plays for Real Madrid, and obviously he's fit, and he had a comeback in the last game for some minutes to be ready tomorrow. If he plays, I'm pretty sure he wants to make a point and wants to prove. Let's see. Do I prefer with him, without him? No. They can leave the spot open. I have no problem with that. And play with 10. They will not do this. So there are so many quality players. We talk about Real Madrid, and we have to face the challenge with confidence.
Okay, time for two more before we move on. James Bench.
Hi Thomas.
Hi.
In the Champions League and in the Premier League, there's been a real noticeable improvement in the XG that you've been conceding and the touches you've been allowing in your own box. I mean, particularly XG. I think you've only had 2 games where that figure's been over 1 in the Premier League and Champions League. What exactly do you put this down to? Because it was quite an immediate shift that has stayed pretty constant, whoever has played in the defence.
Most important, quality and commitment of the players. Quality explains itself. Commitment, am I ready to do the things which are necessary to do, to help my teammate, to cover my teammate when he's going into a challenge? Do I play my role 100% reliable? This is the commitment. Can the defensive guys rely on the midfielders? Can the midfielders rely on the strikers? And this is a clear yes in all the games. This is a huge effort that we put in the games physically into defending. We do this. Then the next one is courage. We play very brave. We defend up front. Never forget, sometimes it's the best defense to have the ball. So it comes also down on ball possession, quality of ball possession. Quality of counter pressing. For good counter pressing, you need to be brave up high. The pitch. You need to position yourself very disciplined to not allow too many counterattacks. And in the end, it's about also about commitment to block shots and to really have the mentality to not allow shots on goal. Then we have good goalkeepers in the end. And like you said, we are very happy with the numbers because we produce these numbers regularly, and the clean sheets feel well deserved. It's like attacking, it's a team effort, and it will always stay like this in football, which is the good thing. And we are ready for another one tomorrow.
Good evening. Tonight, Chelsea continue their bid to follow Manchester City as winners of the European Cup Winners' Cup, Europe's second most important club tournament. Their opponents are Real Madrid, and plus tonight's match is the replay of the game on Wednesday night, the match ending at 1-1.
Incredible game and incredible. That was the first time I really felt sorry for Chelsea supporters because they'd all gone out on these charter flights to the game, and we went to the airport next day to see a lot of them off because they all had to go back the next day.
In comes Werner. I inquired what would it cost to stay over and see the replay 2 days later. They said £76 single. I didn't have that to my name at the time. I was an 18-year-old student.
Cook to Hudson. Hudson.
Unfortunately, I didn't have the money to stay for the replay, so I had to go home and watch it on television.
First game, it was just Peter Osgood up front, but when he asked me to play, he said, I want you to get up there and get amongst it. So it was me and Osgood again.
John Dempsey was an underrated player. Tommy Baldwin, another underrated player. Guys who are doing great jobs for us.
And the corner kick.
I always remember the goal, really. I mean, it was a corner taken by Charlie Cook, and it came in and I headed it and the goalkeeper punched it out and I just hit it on the volley.
And Dempsey has scored!
I only scored 7 goals, but it was the best goal I ever scored. It stands out as one of my most memorable things I've done in the career of playing football.
Back to Harris. Number 8, Baldwin. Osgood. And he scored! Osgood has done it!
Ozzy had the most amazing amount of ability I've ever seen from a footballer.
Osgood has made it 2.
Ozzy didn't give me the return. I was free and I was just going to call him so and so, and he knocked it right in the corner. I thought, beauty.
In the last 10, 15, 20 minutes, we were back to the wall.
That's probably one of my best games I've ever had at Chelsea. The last 10 minutes, quarter, we was under the cosh.
Well, they've got a quarter of an hour to go and 2 substitutes to use, but now Freitas for Real Madrid. He's done it, he scored! Real Madrid has scored. Freitas has got one in with 15 minutes to go.
One player I think was most underrated was Peter Bonetti. For me, was the best.
City and Grosso in the middle. Coco as well. And Bonetti. Freitas. Amancio. Bonetti. Amancio. And it's Webb who's stripped away a corner. Almost a replica of Wednesday night when Webb popped up from nowhere to save Chelsea.
Right near the end of the game, I was just going to tap it into an empty net, and I just flung myself. I must have been about 12 yards away. I just got a touch, just to touch it out for a corner.
And it's over. The whistle has gone. Chelsea have won the European Cup Winners' Cup for the first time in the club's history. Ron Harris walk up and get the cup.
I was very proud to be captain at Chelsea.
Now hands the European Cup Winners' Cup, which Manchester City held. It's now moved from Manchester to Chelsea.
To beat Real Madrid is special, and to win a trophy is special. And again, we were just fantastic in cup games. We really were. We could turn it on.
Welcome back to Matchday Live. The first Champions League meeting between these two without its idyllic setting, of course. Real Madrid's 80,000 capacity stadium is being renovated, so it's the Estadio Alfredo Di Stefano that plays host. But don't worry, there's no sort of training session vibes about this one. It's a Champions League semi-final. Let's go straight into our hot topic one for tonight, which is Chelsea v Real Madrid. a fresh rivalry. It's kind of strange, isn't it, Jace? Because you look at Real Madrid as a rival in terms of being a European superpower and players that we're looking for in a similar sort of market, and obviously players between. But we've never played them in the Champions League before. How on earth has that happened?
No, and that's just down to the luck of the draw, where what group we're drawn in, the seeding. It comes down to all of that. But you're absolutely right. When you think about what we've done in the Champions League in the last 15, 20 years and what Real Madrid have done in the last 50 years, it's quite remarkable. Of course, we have played them. We beat them back in 1970. Yes, 71. 71. Yes, 71. 71 season. And of course, it was a replay. So we've never lost them. We drew that. And of course, we won the Super Cup in 98. So it is remarkable that we've not faced them. When you think about how many times we played PSG and Liverpool and
Barcelona 14 times we played Barcelona 16.
It's quite remarkable that we've not crossed swords yet. I'd rather meet this Real Madrid than the ones that we spoke about perhaps previously 5-6 years ago, when they were really the most feared side in Europe. This is a different Real, but what they bring and the manager brings and some of the players they've got tonight, huge experience, and there's a know-how. There's a confidence in that know-how that they can lean on that history. They can lean on what players in the past have done, and one or two of these players have been involved in those triumphs that Zinedine Zidane oversaw as well. So I'm not underestimating Real at all. But you're absolutely right to get to this stage of our history and to have won it and to have been in so many semi-finals and not to have played them is quite remarkable. But let's hope. We've never lost to them in any competition. Let's hope it stays that way.
Pat, Jason's mentioned it there about the know-how. You know, we know how good this side can be. They've won, 4 of the last 7 Champions Leagues, bearing in mind 4 of those come in 5 years in terms of 3 back-to-back and 1 a season and a bit before that one. But in terms of dressing rooms you've been in before, is there kind of a comfort feel about some competitions that you experience as a player? Because it certainly feels that Real Madrid come alive in this competition, perhaps even a little bit more than they do in their league games. If you look at their recent league form, it kind of does lean towards that.
I think there's very few teams in the world in history actually can comfortably feel that way. I can remember a Liverpool team we played against. They kind of felt that way about competitions. They just felt as if they were going to win everything. And they had a brilliant record. But if you look through it, Barcelona had a period like that. But teams generally don't have that because competitions are hard. They're tough. You know, every single cup. You'll see Pep Guardiola talking about how hard it is to win the Champions League. But if there's one team that can feel as at home, it's them. I mean, they've had 13 times to win Champions League. Yeah. If they win it again to go 14, that's double anyone else. Double. And that's AC Milan on 7. So they are extraordinary what they've got. But see, as you're a player and you're walking out and their lads are warming up just now, you think, it's only a game. It's only like 11 against 11. Some of them are not as young as they used to be. And by the way, we're not in that huge stadium with 80 or 90,000 people shouting and screaming and bawling at us. There's a hell of a lot of things in our favour. Now, the other thing in our favour just now is, and this isn't to be underestimated over 2 games, we've played 2 Spanish clubs in this competition so far, and we've done them. And by the way, we were stronger than them, and we were technically as good as them. And I know it's Real Madrid, but they're not miles ahead of the others at the time. But also, our league and the way we play is a different style, and it's a different level of fitness that you need, and you have to keep on going for the entire 90 minutes. If we push them and keep them up and keep them honest at that level, Liverpool tried to do it, but they haven't got the energy left. I think we might have. I actually think we might have the energy to tire them. And Modric is a great player, but he's 35. Marcelo is a great player, but he's not that famed for getting back when he has to get back. So find out, even with great players, where the weakness is. See if you can do something with it.
Zach, it's strange, isn't it? Because obviously we're having this chat, and in the same sort of format, I'm sure there's a Real Madrid channel that's doing exactly the same as we're doing at the moment, and discussing how Chelsea are a problem, and how much the big thing coming into it, and we've even discussed it against Atletico and against Porto, that teams don't want to play teams that don't concede goals, and that's exactly what Chelsea do. They don't concede goals at the moment. So the fact that we're looking at it, this is Real Madrid, a massive sort of a state of grandeur in terms of European history. Chelsea are quite sort of new to that party, one Champions League, but bearing in mind the way we're playing at the moment and what we brought to the table, the manager that we've got that knows how to get there, the players we've got that know how to get there, they'll be having these exact the same conversations that we're having about us.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Christian Pulisic said it in his press conference that I'm pretty sure Real Madrid won't be too happy that they've pulled us either. That it's going to be a tough game and that no team really wants to play against us because we make football really difficult when you play against us. It's not easy to score. Defensively, we are very, very good and we know what we're doing. And we've proven that in the Champions League. Atletico Madrid, when we played them, we're top of the league. And we're flying. We played them and they've started to fall a little bit since. But yeah, I'm almost certain that Zidane, when and that whole Real Madrid side have all day, all week been talking about coming up against Chelsea and what they're going to do and trying to analyse, just like we have as well with them. And we could be in for an absolute Champions League classic today of watching brilliant players against each other. And I just hope that that we're the winners.
Like you said, Matt, organisation is going to be key tonight. Shape's going to be important. Discipline. Obviously, key to Thomas Tuchel's shape since he's come in has been that now well-spoken about double six role that we've seen. Jorginho has been instrumental to that success. Not just his passing ability, but there's something else that needs crediting, and Pat Nevin's been taking a little look at it for us.
It is no secret I'm a big fan of Jorginho and always have been. Yes, he plays the 5 role in front of the 2 centre-backs, but his defensive work in that position has just improved and improved. And this season it's as good as it's ever been. Always closing down, always helping his mates out and getting in there where it hurts and making sure he wins the ball and then making sure you don't give it away. Always wanting to making sure that he is in space to help develop the game and develop these really good moves going forward. Again, winning the ball easy, passing easy sometimes, that's all you have to do, and make yourself available again. There he's available again. He doesn't get used, but he's always available. Players around him always want everybody else to move. That team, Callum, get a move wide, I'll find you. He has this awareness of everything around him. There might be 2 players around him, but he sees them, but also look at him. He's telling everyone else where to move. Again, in that gap, in the pocket, making sure he has got space, making sure he's available, and these long passes are more common than people give him credit for, and he's very, very good at them. This time, controlling the game, putting it from black onward to the centre half. However, telling Kurt Zouma, get back, telling everyone else in front of him, and his movement is superb. He has been amazing.
Pat, he's almost metronomic in the middle of the park, isn't he? The way that he dictates things on and off the ball, but he sets the tempo, he sets everything like you said in your analysis there. And strangely, I suppose that the comparison would probably be to a couple of players that are lined up for Real Madrid tonight. You could almoys put him in that system and he'd fit very well in there as well.
Yeah, I think he would fit well in anywhere because, you know, that Jinko that he plays as good as anyone in the world, you know. But he's added those other things that I was talking about there. You know, he is better defensively now than he has been before. He puts in tackles, he covers ground. He does control games. He's going to find it hard to control this one. You know, that's going to be tough. I think maybe we'll have to drag Mason Mount a little bit closer to him tonight if they do play the way that Jason was suggesting in a kind of 3-5-2. Because we don't want to be outnumbered in there, so he might need a little bit of help. But you've known it all the time that Jorginho's been here, even in the season where he wasn't everybody's favourite. I stuck by him and thought he was absolutely brilliant. And you tend to find that had at any point he'd been sort of let go by Chelsea, the queue would have been around the block 4 times, and at the head of that queue would have been the likes of Manchester City. Technically, what he gives to a team is fantastic. But he'll need help in there tonight. And thank goodness he's got the world's best ever pest beside him. A world-class pest in Kanté. And he'll need to be an utter pest tonight because they need to be closed down.
I was going to say that, Jay, in terms of what you and Pat have both said in terms of the way that Real Madrid might line up. And that 3 in the middle of the park for Real Madrid, it does roll off the tongue because they've been the spine of that Real Madrid side for the best part of a decade now in Casemiro, Kroos and Modric, 3 world-class operators. But I suppose the bigger test today is, like you said on Jorginho, is off the ball work is as important. And N'Golo Kanté does that better than anyone else on the planet.
Absolutely. I mean, you need to, you know, whenever there's a partnership all over the pitch, there's one that complements the other and perhaps has a skill set that can actually rectify one of his mates' problems. And that's how partnerships work. Just looking at the lineup, the way that they've gone, I wonder whether we're going to. I think we might enjoy more of the ball than perhaps we think, and I'll tell you why. Because the way they've set up, I think they're going to be predominantly a 5 at the back. I know that that's what we can do when we're out of possession, but those 3 in the middle of the park there, it's going to be fascinating to see how the game opens up in the first 10, 15 minutes. We know how good Jorginho is on the ball. It's not Kanté's skill set. He is great at winning at back. When we have the ball, I think he's best at keeping things simple. Simple passes, keep things simple. So he's looking for whoever's going to be out on the right back, whoever's right wing back, whoever's going to be left wing back. I think that is his game. And I think that if he overcomplicates his game, then it becomes a little bit of a problem. Looking at Carvajal and looking at Marcelo, are they going to be high and wide? Are they going to be playing as wing backs, literally? Or are they going to be a little bit more reserved, depending where the ball is? I expect a little bit of both. If we can dominate the ball and force their wing backs back and have that defensive mindset, I think Kanté will see a lot of the ball. And I think then it's important we do not give it away, because I've seen games where we've had a lot of the ball and Kanté at times can be a little bit sloppy with some of his passes, and that is so crucial. If we give it to Jorginho, Pat's made the point. Jorginho doesn't give it away. Give it to him. Without the ball, then I've got no problem with Jorginho in the middle of the park alongside Kanté, because the pair will give one another that stability, and then we'll become a 5. I'm fascinated to see how the first 7-8 minutes even go. Really, can we dominate possession? Can we force their wing backs back? Can we set the tone of the game, or will they do something similar to us?
Zach, I want to talk to you about hot topic 2 tonight, which is Chelsea's big match performers. I mean, that I suppose comes from the manager in terms of he knows what to do in big games. He's been in enough of them, even the Champions League final last season, of course, but we seem to have this same conversation. I know that you'll all have non-Chelsea friends that will be saying, yeah, but when he comes up against, or when you come up against, how do you cope? How do you get past that? Every challenge that has been laid before this team so far, Chelsea have stepped up and overcame, whether it be Atletico Madrid, whether it be Porto, whether it be Man City in the semi-final at the weekend. In terms of personnel, there are so many players that are showing that character, that want to be able to the people to say, I'll tell you what, if there's responsibility, I'll take that on. None more so than Mason Mount, of course, but there's plenty of those within the Chelsea squad tonight. Is that the reason that you're feeling confident going into the game?
Yeah, it's sprinkled so nicely. I mean, at the back, we have probably one of the most experienced defenders in world football at the moment, Thiago Silva. The way he kind of conducts Chelsea and the way that with the pace of our passing, or the way that we want to play over the top balls, he can do it all, and it all starts with him. But as I said, it's kind of all over that squad, not just Thiago Silva. In goal, Mendy has pulled out some great saves for us when we need him in these big games. Chilwell's been brilliant on that flank. Azpilicueta, I mean, how many times do we talk about him being such a leader and such a great professional on that pitch, and taking Chelsea by the horns and making sure that we continue to strive forward. And then, I mean, N'Golo Kanté. Atletico Madrid, N'Golo Kanté was one of the best performances I've seen in such a long time. And then the game after that, he betters it. And the game after that, he betters it. It's so good. But the one good thing with this Thomas Tuchel squad at the moment as well is, every big game that we worry, he proves us not to worry. He proves us to have faith in him. And that Manchester City game, right? Manchester City are probably one of the best teams, or maybe the best team in the world. And we dominated them, and we won that fair and square. And that's the beauty of having this Chelsea squad and Thomas Tuchel at the moment, just kind of calming your nerves. And then, yeah, I mean, you mentioned Mason Mount. That boy, 22 years old, 100 appearances for Chelsea today. It's ridiculous.
In less than 2 seasons, bear in mind, he made his debut, didn't he? First game last season, he's racked up to 100 already. Staggering, absolutely staggering. Stunning. What a player. And again, here's to the next 300 or 400, hopefully. Pat, historically, Chelsea have always had players that step up in big games. Obviously, the biggest big game player that everyone thinks of straight away is Didier Drogba, but there's so many that run off the list. John Terry, Petr Cech, Frank Lampard, Ashley Cole, Michael Essien, Michael Ballack, so many that you could go through. Thomas Tuchel spoke about winning and that kind of thing being in the DNA of the football club. Is that maybe a little bit behind the scenes? We don't see this, we're not privy to it, but there's always got to be a little bit of a test of character. And I suppose you know what you're kind of getting. Petr Cech spoke about this, about the players that were brought in the summer. He knows their character, and he spoke about their personality. I suppose you have to have that if you're playing for a big club.
Yeah. People get that mixed up between super confidence and arrogance, right? Those very, very close cousins, and they are very, very close. But we've got some players that have got, you look at Timo Werner, and he's had tough times. He keeps on getting there, doesn't he? Keeps on going back, keeps on going into the right areas. That's a strange confidence that not that many have. A lot of them kind of bottle out of it. He doesn't. He keeps on going back. Oddly enough, Kai Havertz was not starting today. I can see that about his way now, that I'm beginning to see that coming through. But these are young players. Pulisic could be the same. These are young players where you can see exactly that characteristic that you're talking about coming through. With Mason Mount, it's there already. Weirdly, it's there already. I think he's a big game player already. And he will add something. It might be a goal. It might be a performance. It might be an assist. It can be any of those things. It might be, I'm going to have to go in that area and kill Casemiro. And I'm going to have to stop him playing, stop him controlling the game. Do you know what? I put money on Mason to be able to do that. So I'm delighted with all those players. But don't forget, it's not just those guys. There's others as well. And again, I've been trying. We're all overthinking this. I hope the manager doesn't overthink it, but that's what we do. And one of the things I think we're all thinking about is Vinicius and his pace. But I asked you a question, and I don't know the answer, but I think I've got a vague idea of it. Have you seen anyone run away from Rudiger yet? I've not. I really haven't. So another test for him tonight. I've still not seen anyone run away from him yet. Rudiger's going to be over that side. As long as Tony's up for it, on it, and keeps an eye on him. Vinicius Junior, actually, he spends a lot of time relying on that pace. If he can't do Tony for pace, we should be all right there.
Well, I mean, speaking of big game players, someone that's playing just inside Tony Rudiger, Jace, is Thiago Silva. Champions League finalist last season. He's an elite performer, a consummate professional, and we've seen him in the stands showing just how much it means to progress in this competition. And I suppose for a player that's played nearly 100 times for his country, won pretty much everything there was to win except the Champions League in Paris, this will be something he wants to write this season.
Absolutely, of course. Look, he deserves to win it. Is there a more deserving player than N'Golo Kanté to win the Champions League? That's not how football works. I saw Real play both games against Liverpool, and over the two games, Liverpool were the better side. But the first 45 minutes is where Liverpool lost it. That's where the game over the two legs, the tie was lost. And you didn't know it going into the second leg, but when you look back over it, you think that's where they were poor in the first 45, and that's where it cost them. When you've got someone like Silva at the back and you've got Aspie in there, I think that this game right now needs defensively, and that's why he's gone with what he's done, plus the ball playing centre half in Christensen. He's gone there knowing he's got the little bit of stability. And let's have Rudiger right up there with Pat's alluded to it. Let's have Rudiger. He's an experienced player now. He's not as experienced as Silva or Aspie, but he's at the level now where, and his game, I've got to tell you, a year ago, if Rudiger had left, I would not have been concerned. Honestly, I've been proven wrong. And Tuchel's got the best out of him. There is not right now a more consistent player defensively in Chelsea than Rudiger. That doesn't worry me. That side of the game doesn't worry me. But there are so many players in this side that you think, would you not love Mason Mount to win the Champions League? Tactically, I'm fascinated tactically how this game is going to really open up, not just in the first 45, but over the 90 and then the second 90. But yeah, there's lots to consider, guys. We haven't got enough time, I don't think.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're absolutely right, because we're going to move on to hot topic 3 for tonight, which is a little bit of a reunion. Hazard and Courtois, obviously, two of our most influential players, I suppose, over the last decade or so. Both of them, two-time Premier League winners. Obviously, Thibaut Courtois, Petr Cech's successor, which was such a big sort of shoes and gloves to fill. Eden Hazard, over 350 games for Chelsea, 9th all-time top goal scorer, one of Chelsea's greatest ever players. Zach, I mean, we could sit here and wax lyrical about both of those. Eden Hazard, I suppose, is the one that was slightly relieved and disappointed not to see start tonight. He's been desperately unlucky, as Lee Parker alluded to earlier, with injuries. Only managed 37 appearances in all competitions since then, which is, for a player of his quality, is sad. But they've got such quality in him to come off the bench. That's obviously something that Chelsea fans are going to be slightly concerned with this evening.
Yeah, it'll be a weird reunion, as you said. I mean, we all know the quality Eden Hazard can bring to a football match. If there was one player when he was with us that if we were drawing or losing and we were like, okay, how do we get a goal? Let's rely on Eden Hazard. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, he was that guy. He always delivered. Whether it was beating 3 men and putting it past the keeper or taking it around the keeper or scoring from 30 yards out, it is what he did. And he hasn't lost that. He's just been so unfortunate with injury. And I'm sure Thomas Tuchel and the Chelsea guys will know that. I mean, certain Chelsea players will know that better than anyone else, having had to face him in training for so many years. And it is a bit of a sad reunion that he isn't in his prime best, but also at the same time, I'm kind of glad he isn't, because if he was, it'd be a tough night for that Chelsea defence. Yeah, I mean, as legends go, he's up there. He gave so much to us, and we mentioned players that deserve a Champions League title. He's another one. That one of the world's best at one point was probably the best player in the Premier League. Was probably one of the best 3 in the world. And so, as much as I love him, and as much as I'm so thankful for everything he's done for us, I really hope he's knocked out of the Champions League this season.
Oh, me too, mate. Me too. Obviously, Pat on the terraces, he was known as the Belgian Pat Nevin for a long while, and you have seen many players like that. But I suppose we've been gifted. We had Gianfranco Zola on the show a couple of weeks back, who's very much in that mould of players that can just create something and do the. You watch football for players like Eden Hazard, don't you?
And people of an older generation would mention Charlie Cook and that kind of idea as well. Chelsea fans have always been kind to that type of player. I've thrown Juan Mata in there, different type of player, but do totally and utterly creative player. I never thought it would happen. There was only a very small number of us that got Player of the Year twice at Chelsea. In fact, nobody had got it 3 times. And then Frank Lampard come on and got it 3 times. And I thought, no one will ever do it 4 times. Eden comes along. Eden gets it 4 times, and absolutely deservedly so. So many positives to his game. I absolutely love turning up at Stamford Bridge. And even if we got beat, it's okay. I'd watched Eden doing something. Every single game, we would do something, at least one thing, usually many more things that were absolutely magical. And I loved it for him. Every player's got a weakness, and Eden's weakness was often, as we all saw, coming back from pre-season training. He maybe didn't look 100% perfect, Nick. I think you know where I'm going here, right? So it took him a few weeks to get himself into shape, right? Which is my big hope for tonight. He's been out for a while. He could come back in and play tonight. The thought of him being 100% being his best tonight is almost unimaginable. It takes Eden a while to get back. So, you know, he's a concern, but at this point in time, he's not my major concern. I'd like to wax lyrical about him forever. But you know what? Wait until he's not playing against us, then we'll talk about him.
Full time after the second leg, we'll have a chat. Hopefully,
yeah, we'll love you, Ed. We do, but we'll love you more after this game's finished.
Absolutely right, mate. Well, boys, it's your favourite time. Let's do the quiz, shall we? Come on. So we are playing Name That Semi-Final Opponent, right? So you'll have a question each with 3 clues. So very, very simple format. You only get one. Correct. You only get one guess, okay? So bravery is rewarded. If you jump in after the first clue, you get 3 points. Jump in after the second clue, 2 points. Third clue, 1 point. But if you jump in too early, much like you do in football, straight red, you're finished, you're done. Don't get a second chance, okay? And also, to add a little bit as well, if someone can steal it after you've got it wrong, they get a little bonus point. So think about how you can...
How do you dive in? Do you put your hand up? Do you shout? What do you do?
No, you'll get a question each. You'll get a question each. So... I'll start with Pat Nevin. Pat, you're up first, okay? So your first clue, which is worth 3 points, is scored in first half injury time in our first leg. You've got to think of the tie, the game, who we were against.
And it could be any year, this?
Could be any year. You can obviously pass. You don't have to jump in straight away. If you do and you get it wrong, you're out. Or you can wait for the second clue and potentially third clue. You can wait, Jason Cundy. Wait
first half injury time?
Yes. Play it defensive, are you, Pat?
No, I'm not getting it.
All right, fair play. Second clue, right? So this is worth 2 points. Drew 2-2 in the second leg, progressing 3-2 on aggregate. Jay got lucky there because he was all in. He was all in for the first one, and now he's changed. Okay.
I'm going to give it. I'm going to jump in and give Justin a chance, and I'm going to try Barca.
Bang on, Pat. 2 points. Congrats, mate. Well done. Good work. Zach, you're up next, mate. So, see how you feel. Because if you jump in straight away, you're putting a real pressure on Jace. But you could level it up with Pat as well.
I now know how it works. So.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm the guinea pig.
Right. Come on, Zach. Right. So your first clue, Zach, is won the first leg 1-0 with a goal from Joe Cole. Do you want your second clue, or do you want to have a guess?
And is this just semi-finals? Was it or
semi-final? Just semi-final. Name that semi-final opponent.
Oh God,
this is tense. This, I tell you what, we should get
exclusively Champions League. Is it
exclusively Champions League, mate? Exclusively Champions League.
Okay. Who do we play then? Again?
You can have a second clue. You don't have to dive in. Remember.
I'm
gonna have to rush you.
Yeah, I'll go second clue.
Second clue is lost 4-1 on penalties. Semi-final 4-1 defeat on penalties.
Joe Cole's semi-final 4-1. Oh God. I'm gonna have to just have a guess. I'm just gonna have to have a guess. Let's go with. It's not Liverpool.
Go on.
Liverpool? I don't think it is. It's not Liverpool.
He's struck from range, mate. Good work. Correct.
Oh!
Yeah, Liverpool. Well done. So,
Liverpool.
Yeah, mate. So, Jace, this is big for you because if you bank first clue, Jace, you win the whole thing. But obviously, you could lose it on the first one as well. So think about this carefully. Your first clue, Jason Cundy,
and we can jump in if he gets
no pressure. No pressure.
No pressure at all, mate. No pressure at all. So your first clue is we lost the first tie 3-1 on aggregate.
In the semi-final.
Semi-final. Your knowledge is bang on, to be fair, Jay. So
lost the first tie.
Sorry, lost the first tie 3-1.
Lost it in the semi-final of the Champions League.
First leg.
Semi-final of the Champions League. We've been there.
Semi-final.
This is.
I have to go Barca to win it.
Incorrect. Zach thinks he knows it. Pat, I don't know. Zach, I'm gonna give you the chance here, Zach.
Is that Atletico Madrid?
Oh, good work, son. Good work.
See you later. See you later.
First leg.
No, we drew 0-0.
Well, hang on. wait there, mate. Hang on.
We drew 0-0.
What year?
It was Jose. We drew it. We lost the home leg 3-1.
Okay, well, I tell you what. I'm going to take that. I've got that wrong because I think I've said aggregate there. Do you know what? Actually, flag's still up, Jay. You're gone. You can appeal it. I'm not having it. No chance.
Race.
Don't make me mute you. All right. We could go to. We'll go to a panel. We'll discuss this. later. I've had.
Come on, VAR's got to step in.
Go on, mate. They don't get every decision
I've
right.
I've heard you say that.
Human error.
VAR's got to say. I can't believe you.
Got to step in.
Human error, I'm afraid. Straight to the team read there, which is Edouard Mendy in goal. A back three of Andreas Christensen, Thiago Silva, and Chilwell. N'Golo Kanté, Jorginho, Christian Pulisic, Mason Mount, and Timo Werner as well. We are not far away then. The clock is ticking. Kickoff is fast approaching. We're almost ready to join our commentary team. Soak it up. Nights like tonight could be historic. The stage is set. The players can create their own legend. As for the manager, he knows exactly what we're up against.
When I think about Chelsea, I think about intensity. I think about winning. I love when my teams attack, when we play with a high rhythm. At the same time, closing the spaces to be not vulnerable in the back. To be very, very difficult to play against. We want to show a certain hunger to make our supporters proud of us.
They are the most famous team in European Cup history. They are a very dangerous opponent, but we can match them. Their manager is someone I have great respect for. This is a huge test for this team. Our concentration will have to be at its maximum for 2 games. We need to focus on playing our game. When the moment comes, we need to be clinical. We want to be in that final in Istanbul.